What's up? I'm back. So I want to talk about this conversation I had the other day with one of my friends, and he wanted to get my perspective on what reality is. And I gotta let you know that this guy, he was an atheist, but he's kind of spiritually awakening up. So he's knowing that there's something outside of himself that exists that he can't see, and so he comes to me for, my perspective. And so I had to tell him that human beings are created in the image of God, but we're inherently flawed, and good and evil exist. All right, and he never really liked to call God, but mainly because he didn't believe in him. He was an atheist, but now he's a little bit more open to it. But part of the reason why some people are just so turned off by the name of God, right? Because I've talked to people and they don't even like mentioning the name God. But it's partly because they're turned off because they don't know who or what God is. And to keep it simple for you, God is energy. God is spirit. As a matter of fact, if you look up spirit as a Hebrew definition, one of the definitions of spirit is energy of life. It's life energy. That is who God is. God, spirit, energy, all the same. And so I was telling him that, and it was clicking. And but then he was saying how everything that we see or hear is man-made. And he was saying that even the English language is a man-made language, so you can't really trust it when it talks about God. So I had to tell him that, well, if you can trust the English language when it comes to talking about stuff like water, then why can't you trust the English language when it comes to talking about God, right? See, the English language, the Bible, was written with the best form of communication that we had, right? Which is language. It was first written in Hebrew, then Greek, and then it got translated into all these other different languages. If you can understand a language, you can trust it. Now he said how everything in this life is man-made, including language. And I said, that's not true, because water existed before language existed. Water existed before communication existed. The fact that we laugh and cry existed before anybody ever had a word for it. I mean, the baby comes out the room crying, has no idea what that even is. So I want to talk about the language of God. God has his own language. The Spirit of God has its own language. The Spirit of energy, Spirit, God, has its own language. And the language of God, energy, Spirit, is action. It's things like laughter, crying, being joyful, dancing, singing. That is the language of God. Progressing towards the greater good for someone else. That is the language of God. You gotta understand, before the English language was created, God existed way before anything was created. Water is water whether you call it water or not. Alright, some languages they call it agua. But that doesn't change the fact that it is what it is, which is something that can help you hydrate to stay alive. And so I'm explaining all of this to him, and he slowly starts to awaken and starts to come to a belief in God. Then it got me thinking that one of the ways you can evangelize to Buddhists, atheists, anybody who don't believe in Jesus, right? Anybody who don't believe in God, is you got to use other words, right? You don't just limit yourself to God as in one word. Remember, God is spirit, God is energy, God is life, God is truth, God is love. Even the Bible says all this stuff. So don't just limit yourself when you're trying to evangelize to people to just using the word God, because God is not limited to our English language. And knowing that rule can better help you evangelize and bring this message to awaken others to who they really are. That's all I have right now, but I will be back. Alright, make sure that like button, subscribe. Joe, I'm out.